All right, hello.
All right.
This
Welcome,
is the memory
everyone.
wall, and this is a new thing that Scott made. We're jumping right in. Comment below if this is extra or not, or if this is needed, or what we think. But
I was caught off guard. Okay, everyone. Oh my
all
God.
right, put that in the bloopers.
Okay. It's week two, everyone. Welcome to week two of PBSS 14. What a wild week. Oh my God, I'm
One
crying.
second, one second.
Um,
Sorry,
okay,
let's
we're back.
continue.
We're back. I've gathered myself. I've got my water.
Oh, so this slide is basically telling us the scores from last week, which is also shown on the slide that's going to be
I
shown.
don't need your commentary.
Okay, now
That slide is showing us. No, go back to it. Go back to it. This slide is showing us the order that people were in and will continue to grow as the season goes. So we can see it across the whole season. I don't need you to tell me that's what the graph does.
I didn't say that. You said that.
So let's do a little recap. This week was nuts. It was nuts in a great way because it ended up with someone going home that wasn't contributing anything to the season, actually. Um, so we got a whole lot of drama, a whole lot of messy gameplay, very little good gameplay. But I'll take messy and entertaining over like really good and smart. No, that's a lie.
Yes,
Um,
I wouldn't.
that's a lie. But listen, I was entertained this whole week, and I really do love all 14 people that are left. And I don't know, I'm just really excited to dive in. Caroline was our HOH for the week.
Then let's dive in. Oh,
She was on the block week one, won HOH week two, and had no allies except Chloe, really. She nominated Joe and Matt with the intent of taking out Joe. A whole lot of drama ensued where there was a lot of he said, she said, they said, so on, so forth. Apparently, Joe's a bully. Apparently, Caroline's lying,
oh, that was this week.
but we're all gaslighting one another. And apparently, some people are being more messy. And we're going to lie about what we're doing with the veto. And we're going to gag the city. That is a quote from season 11 house guest Sunny. Um, and Mads went home. What a week.
What a week. Let's jump in.
Let's jump in. Um, as you see, along or no, go back to slide number two real fast. So as you can see, Fletcher was don't roll your eyes like that. Fletcher was in our number one position with Faven closely behind in second, followed by Caden, Alex, Emily, Jason, Peyton down below. Caroline was the lowest rated house guest going into this week, but we know what happened. All right, now we can go to slide three. Thank you for entertaining
My
me.
God. Okay.
Alrighty, let's dive in.
Yes.
Alex.
Alex received a 5 from me and a 7 from you last week. That's something that your fancy chart doesn't show.
So what's really funny is that is false information. Stephen
It's progress.
lied to the crowd. Stephen the liar
I thought we were
is
starting
trying
with
to discredit my chart. We both gave Alex sixes, just to set the record straight.
that's what I said. That's what I said.
Um, this week, um, I've gone on a roller coaster with Alex this week
Me too.
because at the start of the game last week, I was like, okay, I'm impressed, but we could be doing more. And then I've been like, oh, I'm annoyed. You're not thinking optimally. You have just decided that this BB Snap group is who you should rock with, and Fletcher and Caden are not worth anything to you, apparently, and you're just routing them out when you could be in a position where it's like you're balancing both sides equally, because some people are doing that. But with that being said, to Alex's credit, I do think she is playing this well. I don't agree with the decision to target Fletcher and Caden moving forward because those are two people that really are with her as number ones and won't be looking at her at all. I understand that they're like loosely looking at her allies, but you can fix that. I don't like that decision. But I do like what she's done. She wanted Mads out this week because Mads ratted out part of the BB Snap Alliance. She essentially came up with a plan to like get other people to do it and push for it pretty flawlessly. Like they played exactly into her hand. It was really impressive. And got out Mads without having to do any of the dirty work. Um and based on of all of her actions so far, while right now she has like if anyone says anything about this BB Snap Core 4, she's like run directly to them and told them. But that's because right now I think she's all in with them. I don't necessarily think she's going to be all in with them the whole game. And I do think that like when she does eventually decide that Faven's going to be an issue or Jason's going to be an issue or Emily's going to be an issue, that like that will stop and she'll turn the tables and be able to trick them instead. So
All in all, what are you saying? And what's your score?
all in all, I'm feeling good on Alex. I think she's like the godfather of this game, is how I equate her, where it's like what she says goes. If Alex doesn't want it, she's gonna let them know, and like no one's gonna dare go against her. And like slightly annoying to watch, yes. But really impressive to watch, also yes. So credit where credit's due. But she's doing well. I was at a 6 last week, and for a while I was considering staying at my 6 because I don't think that the decision to target Fletcher and Caden is a good one. But based on her good gameplay and maybe like not being the most active one to push it, I am going to raise my score and I'm going to give Alex a 7 this week.
Gotcha. Scott is at a 7. I'm gonna stay at my 6. Um, I think that I see what you're talking about with lots of the Godfather qualities, but I think I do have to fault her a little bit for just not being able to like she just talks to everyone and then like only has allegiances towards a few, but just like spreads so much information that it's like this is crazy. So I'm gonna and and I understand the purposes of what that were like for this week, but moving forward, that's not a good quality to have in the game. So it worries me slightly. But I think this week went really well for her. And like you said, what she wanted to have happen did happen, and she was able to kind of manipulate the right people to doing the right things for her. But I'm gonna stay at my 6.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I'll be interested to see that if she does get caught, how she plays around it. Because with all the peace and love in the world, if she's anything like Joe, she's going to be great at gaslighting. And I
Here's the
think she'll be
graph.
able to like get out of it. And she's been good at covering her tracks so far. She's been like really mindful about it, which I think is key for her game. So I'm feeling good about Alex.
Graph. Okay.
Caden. Oh, so I did give Caden the 7 last week.
Yeah.
Maybe I was a little hopeful.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a little premature of me.
Yeah.
Um, Here's the thing. Truthfully, Caden hasn't done anything wrong. The only thing that Caden's done wrong is voice his opinions on Joe, which are correct opinions.
Well, their opinions.
I no, I'd say like they're good reads. Like he has the correct read on the situation of what Joe has done in these first 2 weeks of the game. His only issue has been sharing them with Alex, which under any other circumstance would be great. Alex seems like someone on paper that would be an ally of his. He just doesn't know that Alex is ride or die with Joe. And that's really, really unfortunate. I can't even fault him that much for it because it is just like a bad uh-oh moment that's getting him in trouble. Here's where I will fault him a little bit. It's both him and Fletcher that are getting in trouble for this. And the issue is if they end up on the block together, Caden beside Fletcher, I think Fletcher has done a much better job socially than Caden has, to the point where all of these middle votes that really are going to be deciding, I think, a lot of evictions moving forward, or are going to be key in terms of like you need them, are going to be more inclined to keep someone like Fletcher over someone like Caden. So, with all that being said, I have to drop my score. I have to drop it pretty significantly because I think he is going to be in a bit of trouble moving forward, and I do not think he sees it. I was at a 7. This is going to be a pretty big drop, but I'm going to go down to a 4.
Yeah, I'm going to a one. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
What?
That's what I just said. Send goodbye messages in the house chat, and he said ask nicely, and I said I'm ranking you right now, and I'm about to give you a one. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I gave him a five last week because he was being messy, and now
He wasn't being messy.
what?
He wasn't really being messy.
He was just being like chaotic, and in my mind, that's like the same thing. Um, but now he's like s- still has that like chaotic nature in my mind, but is also like probably being targeted soon. So I'm gonna go down to a four as well. Four for me. Four for four. For four.
Oh, yes. That means that Caden ends up at a 4 this week. Score has gone down.
Oof.
Rather unfortunate.
But could be worse. Anyway,
Moving
Caroline.
on to Caroline. May I just start by saying, I love her. I love Caroline. I'm a Caroline fan. I think she is just camp. And I love camp.
That's camp.
That's camp.
Final
Um,
competition of the season. Of season 13.
um, I don't know. I just think unfortunately it is clear that she's never played a virtual longer Big Brother before. But for what it's worth, she's not doing a bad job. She really has picked it up this week and has formed a good amount of allies that are on her side. She's talked to people a lot more, especially than she did week 1, to the point that I think people like her. There was a very large issue in the beginning that was being in the beginning of this week. She put up Mads and Joe, and we'll get into this a little more with Joe. But essentially, Joe was like, you put me up after I told you the truth, and now the entire house hates you and is against you. So what about that? Caroline told a few people, it was like, wow, okay, well, now Joe's bullying me into thinking that I'm horrible. She very clearly did not mean bullying in the sense of like, Joe is making me feel horrible and is a bully. She meant it in terms of like, wow, Joe's trying to make me feel bad for doing this. That then got taken and told to Alex, who of course is like, well, Joe's my number one, and therefore he could do no wrong. And got told that like Caroline is saying that Joe's a bully. Well, that's impossible. And I was like, okay, let's take a chill pill. But so on and so forth. That wasn't great in the beginning. But as the week went on, it got more and more pinned on Fletcher and Caden than it did Caroline. And now I think people just find Caroline more of like, well, people are either one, really aligned with Caroline, or two, find her more of an annoyance than someone to target. You know what I mean? So for the most part, I feel like this is good work by Caroline this week. Could it have gone better? For sure. For sure. Not even going to argue that. This could have been a much better week. But could it have been worse? For sure. For sure. So Caroline, I gave a 3 in week 1. She was on the block. Likely, I think, could have gone home this week if she didn't win HOH. But this week, I think she won HOH. I think she made a good move that didn't anger too many people in the house. I think she had good, fine reasoning. And I think she's doing okay. I'm going to raise my score. I'm going to get a little crazy. Maybe it's the holiday spirit that's filling me. And I'm going to give her a 5.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go higher. Yeah, I'm also going to a five. But I thought that wasn't like super generous. Wait, hold on. I'm going to do a five as well. Caroline, I love Caroline. I hope Caroline's length of time in the game is longer than my trajected time for her. I don't know if that's a word, but I made it up.
Projected.
But I said trajected.
Yes, I know that's not a word, but projected is the word that I think you're looking for. Trajectory is a word.
Oh, that's not what I want.
Yeah, I know. It's because it's not a word.
But I took trajectory and I made it trajected.
No, I understand what you did. I'm just saying you're wrong.
I'm giving her a five. So she's at a five.
Cool. Okay. Caroline's score is rising.
And if you give me 1 minute, I can show that to you visually. Unlike your graph.
It's because my graph only has 1 week on it.
Blah blah. Don't want to
Just
hear it.
wait. Just wait.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
Lovely. Look at Caroline. A golden line for a golden player. And by gold, I mean maybe bronze at best. Okay, moving on.
Honor.
Connor. Okay, let's start with the good. Connor is great at talking to people in depth and getting them to trust him. He did it with Faven at the top of the week. It was a great conversation, a conversation that I feel like really came in clutch for him this week and was really necessary. He's clearly smart about the game. He's talked to other people on FaceTime. He was another one with Kayla that I jumped on to.
Oh, me too.
And he's just really good at talking to people. Here's the issue. There's a risk that you run with talking to a few people really in depth versus a
Mhm.
lot of people, but like not as in depth. And he's talked to a few people really in depth, and it's proven that he's smart about the game. But the exact thing that I worried about, which is why I was at a five last week, not a six, happened where someone that he hasn't talked super in depth with won HOH. And when put on the spot and you need to put someone else up, they're like, uh, I guess you. And then he landed on the block. If it was literally, I think anyone but Mads, he could have been in a lot of issue, a lot of trouble. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, like I'm trying to think who else he could have been against that he would have stayed. Maybe Isabel, maybe Kayla, but not many more than that in terms of people that like have people backing him. So I'm hoping for him that this was like a bit of a wake up call that like if you don't start talking to more people, this is gonna keep happening. You can't rely on just the few people to keep you safe. And although they did in this vote, you can't rely on that. Um, this week I was at a five last week. I am gonna drop my score down to a four just because he was on the block and unfortunately the people that he has talked with, namely Faven, namely Kayla, and there was someone else that I'm totally forgetting in this moment. But those people have like fallen out of good graces with the house. It would be one thing if he was talking with like the power players that are controlling things, but like some of these people are no longer controlling things. And I just think that if he isn't brought into something soon, once you're upon once, it's easy for someone to throw you up there again. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that he's able to turn around because he's good. He's a good player. He's just not in a great spot.
Yeah, I was at a six last week. I'm going down to a four as well. Just because he's on the block. There was a world, many worlds where he didn't stay in the game. Um, and honestly, even against Mads, if a few things went differently, he might have gone home. So 4 for Connor for me, but could see it going up as the game continues. Look at that. Uh-oh. Okay.
Very, very nice.
Emma
Okay,
Lee.
moving on to Emily. Emily's such an interesting case because if you look at her position on paper, in my opinion, right now, there are three main sides to this house. There's the BB Snap side, which she's in. There's the Suspicious Six side, which she's in. And there's this Caroline Chloe coalition that she's in. On paper, she is the only person that is on all three sides of the house. That's pretty damn impressive. If you look at the reality, she is on like the very outer rim on each of these alliances. You know what I mean? It would be one thing if she was like in the core, really controlling things, but she's on sort of the rim, and at least in my opinion, unfortunately, because I really do like her, is not contributing a lot to each alliance. You know what I mean? Um, I do think it's good for her that she's able to like pick a side when it comes down to it. She's been in her DR being like, I have all these alliances, which is great. But the people that I feel best with are Caroline, Chloe, and Jason. And I'm like, yes, because I agree. I think those are the people that like she's done best with in terms of her conversation. So that's a good read by her. Um, but I feel like she needs to keep up with the other people more and maybe just like give more like she I don't know. I just feel like she's being a bit passive and like waiting for other people to share their opinions before really talking. And there's a lot of this cast, to be fair, but I don't know. I think there's an opportunity that she has to be the most powerful position in the game. Kind of similar to Alex had that opportunity. And just the issue is where Alex, I think, is too too much picking one side. I feel like Emily is too wishy-washy and on the outer rim, and thus people, when it gets down to it, aren't going to be focused on keeping her. So I'm certainly not lowering my score. No one has talked about targeting her. Her name has not come up once. She's in many of the alliances, but in order for me to raise my score and put it in a 7, I feel like you have to be controlling things and be having a serious amount of say. And I just don't see her in that position. So I was at a 6 last week, and I'm going to be staying right there. So I'm at a 6 for Emily.
I'm also staying at my 6 this week. I think she's doing a good job, especially with the people that she's with, of maintaining that sort of likability factor, which is good. Um, and I agree that she's on these several different sides of the house, but I think that the Caroline, Chloe, Team Sean coalition is where she should be rocking with. And I think that's where, she's feels most comfortable. Especially also looking at like, I mean, I'm looking at this right now with all these people, just her talking, like I feel like she talks in a very like conversational, like quirky kind of way, and there's a lot of quirky people in the house this season that I feel like quirk with her. It's very fun, and I think she's okay for now. So I'm gonna keep my 6 for Emily, Emma Lee, but also goes by Emmy. I feel like we should ask her if she wants to change that. But
Fair.
yeah,
All right, currently in second place, at least from me, is going to be one of the higher scores of this week because, newsflash, there aren't going to be a lot more people that are up in this green section for me just because I feel like everyone's in a very precarious position. So, overall, a good spot to be in. Moving on, Faven.
mm,
Let's walk through. We started the week. She was added to two big alliances, the BB Snap 6 and the Suspicious 6. Great. She has had good conversations with Joe. She had another great conversation with Connor, where she got a lot of good info. She had Caroline and Chloe coming to her, being like, I really like your vibes. We should form a trio. And I was like, wow, everything's coming up Faven. Everyone wants to work with her. She's not spreading info around. She is killing it. Go Faven. I'm a Fave fan. That's what I say. And then you know what she did? She said, no, no, I don't want to be a good player. I don't want to get a good score in the rankings. And I was like, but Faven, why? And she was like, to gag them, again, referencing Sunny. And I was like, but Faven, I want you to do well. And she's like, no, no, I want to be messy. And I was like, okay, at least it's for entertainment. What was this move? What was this move? There was such a world where she could have saved Joe and just talked to Caroline about it and been fine. Just talk to people about it and been fine. All she needed to do was be like, I don't know, Joe's been honest about his vote and he's been good to me in the past and I feel good with him. And like, I'm thinking of using the veto him. I guarantee if she brought it up to Caroline, Caroline, as per her conversation with most people, would have been like, oh, yeah, okay, slay. I love Joe. Joe's great. Like, I think it would have been fine. On top of that, after blindsiding literally everyone except her closest alliance of Jason, Joe, and Alex, didn't say like a word to anyone. And I was like, damage control? We're just gonna leave them with that? So I was like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Um, so gameplay took a turn this week. There are still people that feel good with her, but now there are a number of people that feel bad with her, and I can no longer confidently put her in positive scores. But I am still confident in her social game. She's very good at talking to people, and she's got good people backing her. So I was at a 6 last week, and while I feel confident in her abilities, I am definitely lowering my score. I'm only going to lower it to a 5, and we're going to see where we go from here.
Yeah, I was at a 7 last week. I'm lowering to a 4. Big jump. Um, I just think like I get like the entertainment value aspect of it, but like I just can't reward poor gameplay. Like that was mess.
There was just such a clear way out of it.
And it was like, okay, if this is what you're gonna be doing, like I'm not gonna buy stock in you for the rest of the season, you know? Um, but she said she's doing damage control after Christmas. So we'll see. But like
Yeah, that's
why?
true. I think this break is going to benefit her more than most. Let
Okay.
people forget about the mess that she made.
But okay. Baven's at a 4.5. Ooh, lots of people going down this week. Next, oh, talk about going down.
Yeah, speaking of people having their scores lowered, Fletcher. Okay. Last week, Fletcher was the #1 scorer. Stephen, I don't know about you, but I feel as though that's not going to be the case this week.
Oh, I was gonna give him a 10.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it'll balance out. Fletcher, unfortunately, his inexperience is showing just a little bit. Um, let's start with the good because I always love starting on a positive note. His social game is still really great. He's great at talking to people, and even the people that find him messy do really enjoy talking with him. So that's a really good positive. Now the negative. I think he this week for a vote that didn't need to be as like wishy-washy complex as it was, he was a little too back and forth. He's drawn a line a little too much against Joe, but then also being like, but Joe really trusts me and he's spilling his guts to me, which is a plan set up by Alex. Um, he doesn't know that certain people are snaking him, which is gonna cause him more issues. I think all of his problems would be solved if he just knew that Alex wasn't with him.
Yeah.
If he knew Alex wasn't with him, he wouldn't tell stuff to Alex. He's no longer telling stuff to Faven. He's no longer telling stuff to Joe. He doesn't really talk to Jason. Those are the 4 people that he needs to watch out for. Everyone else is a big Fletcher fan, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why moving forward, I feel like his odds aren't that horrible because most of the house still really enjoys him. But there are four big people that are very vocal power players in the game that are very anti Fletcher. And that's going to prove to be an issue. For all those reasons, I was at a 7 last week. I'm certainly no longer that high. I am going to lower my score and I'm going to lower it 2 whole points to a 5 because I think he's in a very precarious position. I think between him and Caden, Caden is in a much more dangerous position because Caden doesn't have the social connections. But I worry that if Fletcher continues to like, for lack of a better term, like run his mouth, that like it'll catch up with him. So I just think he needs to sit and be quiet for a little bit. So I'm gonna give Fletcher a 5.
Yeah. Um, I do agree that, well, first of all, I think Fletcher was just tied into a lot of like just like the mess of what this week was. With that being the bullying aspect and he and Caden talking to, Alex about it and the whole Joe and Mads getting tied into that and suddenly they were lying and they're defending it. So it seems like there's a lot of controversy and uncertainty going on with him there. But I do also agree that it seems like a majority of the house really enjoys him, which in a scenario where you're on the block and someone's putting you up against someone else, if a majority of the people like you, you're doing pretty well. It's just
Especially when the BB Snap 4, don't get me wrong, they're power players, but their strategy is so like, oh, we want Mads out. Okay, we should tell people that we want Connor out. I'm like, okay. I don't have any faith in them being able to actually push something themselves because they're so concerned about being exposed.
short. Um, so I'm also going down to a 5 this week, is my answer.
Which means Fletcher is at a 5.
Oof.
Come on, consistent dropping lines. I see you.
Threes and sevens, now both at fives. Okay.
Next up, Isabel.
Okay.
Here are my thoughts on Isabel.
That's it.
Great. Um, she hasn't given us a lot to work with. Um, yeah, hasn't talked to a lot of people about game. Definitely has like waited till people approach her, and that's fine because like she very clearly like hasn't played a game before, and that's totally fine. Like love having her here. Here's the good news for Isabel. Even in this week, when people were talking about a plan to like get someone else random up on the block, her name did not come up once. When Caroline was put on the spot to decide a renom, her name did not cross her mind once. She's doing something.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit at the very tail end of this week that people were like, wait, but have you heard from her as of late? Like, you know, like she's just started to creep into people's minds of like, wait, but like, is she actually around? And the answer is no, she's not. But they haven't realized that yet.
Sure.
So for this week, based off of how things went and how much her name came up and how much other people's names are coming up, I am going to stay at my 5. But Isabel, know that this is a very low 5. It's a 5.1, not a 5.9. And I unfortunately suspect that the score is going to lower rather quickly, especially heading into the following week, because I think, unfortunately, your clock is running out. Broken heart, because she's super nice. but it's at a 5 for now, and we'll see where life takes her. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be straight to the grave.
Brave. I'm going with a 5 too. I have no comments.
Awesome.
Other than I love Isabel. Oh, I need to do this. Yay. Okay. Next.
Next up, can you go back to the other slide? Next up is Jackson. Jackson seems like he's living on like the other side of the planet, which he is. That was funny. That was a good joke by me. Go Scott. Yeah,
Ooh, I should hold a soundboard here and play sounds.
um
That would have been a boo.
Jackson's in La La Land with all the peace and love in the world. He is in La La Land, where it's just like, unfortunately, like just now, today, he's like, okay, time to start thinking strategically. I was like, okay, it's day 6. We're a little bit into the game. And he's like, I like this person, I like this person, I like this person. We're gonna form an alliance and be the power structure of the game. And I was like, King, that's already formed. Like, you can't just decide on day 6 that we're gonna make it now. Like, it's happened. There are major sides to the house, and you know which side you're on? That was a trick question because it's none of them. Um, I think, I really, really think he was this close to going up on the block this week. Jason pushed for his name as hard as he could have without being like really pushy about it. Um, and I think that if Caroline did put him up, if it was Jackson versus Mads, especially after word got back to the BB Snap 4 that Jackson was being starting to align with Fletcher and Caden, Jackson would have been done for. Done for. Very, very precarious position. I was at a 4 for him for last week, and I was highly considering moving down to a 3. But the only reason I'm not is because of the fact that he has started to insert himself into the game just a little bit more. Just a little bit more, he has. If it works out for him, I'll consider raising my score. But right now, that's yet to be seen, and it's very wishy-washy, and I think he's just going to be looped in with the wrong people and be targeted because of it, unfortunately. So for Jackson, I'm staying at my 4, and I really hope it goes up because he's awesome, but I just don't see it happening right now.
Yeah, I was at a 5 and I'm going down to a 4. Just because it's another week of him not being very active, and um, I think the game is starting to move along a little bit without him, which is sad. Um, but we'll see how it goes for him. Hopefully, he can have a little bit of a comeback and maybe sneak by the pre-jury and continue on. But we'll see. TBD to come. Awesome. Actually, not awesome, but Jason.
Jason. If anyone was wondering what good gameplay looks like, look to Jason.
Mm,
Right now, I am a major Jason fan.
me too.
Jason for the win.
Oh,
Jason for the win all the way. I'm Team Jason.
oh.
Um, I'll say it right now. Team Jason. He's just truthfully, in my opinion, literally the only goddamn person in this game with a brain. With a fully formed brain. Like, it's not that there are multiple people that are in multiple alliances. How is he the only one focused on like actively balancing them while still prioritizing the allies that he wants to work with without exposing his entire game to them. Like Alex is in a similar position, but she's exposed her game to her core people. They know about her other alliances. Jason's been able to keep things on lock. He's been able to push for the people that he wants to push for that benefit him while making it seem like other people's idea. He has the 4-person alliance with Caroline, Kayla, not Kayla. Wow, I'm gonna do that every rankings. Caroline, Chloe, and Emily. He's got the BB Snap group with Alex, Joe, and Faven. Um, I don't know. I just think that he's doing a great job. He's playing a great game, and I don't have much else to say about it right now. I hope that his score continues to rise and rise. I was at a 6 for him last week. I'm confidently raising my score. I'm going to raise it up to a 7 for
Hmm.
this week just to see where things pan out, how things go. But whereas Alex is like, I'm barely raising it up to a 7 because I think you did well. Jason's like, I'm barely not at an 8 because I think he will be there in week 3. I just need to wait one more week to see his gameplay, but he's confidently my number 1 pick for this week, and I'm going to give him a 7.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm definitely also raising my score to a 7 as well. Um, I think that I was on the call for a long time today with the core four snappers. Um, and I think while I see Joe and Alex being a bit more like erratic, I think that Jason is a lot more calculated. And I think that it clearly comes across in conversations that he clearly is reflecting on what he's saying before he's speaking. And I think he's making the right moves this week. And I think that I agree with you fully in what you're saying with that. So I'm a 7 for Jason. I don't know if I'm Team Jason for the win, but I like Jason and he's doing well, and I enjoy watching people who do well. So that's that.
Very nice. So Jason is at a 7.
Joe,
It should be updated.
hmm?
Is it not updated?
No, it is.
Oh, on the Zoom it's not.
You see this pink line? Do you see my screen at all?
No, your screen is just staying as the main screen, but Jason's column is blank.
Oh, why? Oh, I can see what you see, but I don't know why you see that. Oh, there we go. I fixed it.
There it is. Jason scores at a 7, the number 1 player of the week. Spoiler alert for everyone to move forward. You will not be beating Jason's score for me because Jason is the best. Even though he sends my cheese ball picture everywhere.
Warning, this video contains flashes.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm decided that I'm using this as a soundboard from now on.
Oh, fun. I'm gonna hate this. Okay.
And it's on a different tab, so you can't see.
Moving on. Wait, show the graph. We didn't see the graph yet,
Yeah, I showed it. All right.
but it didn't show up. Great. Okay, now we can go back.
I already did that, and I made sure that it was there.
Okay, next up is Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Can I put my balls in your jaw? Let's go. Let's go. Can I put my balls?
What? Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, keep going.
Um, Joe. A really hard person to score for me. I think the hardest. Because here's the thing. I really stay with me for a second. I equate him and Alex as being Jared and Suri this season.
Oh,
They're both good, or but Jared wasn't. But like they're both playing good games, and the issue arises for other people when if they assume that Alex and Joe are operating under normal brain power, that it would be they'd be able to make rational game decisions based off the information presented in front of them. The issue is Joe and Alex are so committed to one another that they're just going to share info. You know what I mean? Like, even if it was rational for Joe to not tell everything to Alex, he just will. And same thing for her to him. So that's one problem, mainly for other people. I don't think it's necessarily bad for him. The other thing, it's like I get on call with him, and he's so good at pitting people against one another. He's so good at it. And he's so good at making people feel good with him. There are people that were against him that, like, for example, Fletcher was against Joe. And Joe had one conversation with him where all he said was, yeah, off the record, I feel good with Mads, so we should keep Mads. And Fletcher was immediately like, wow, Joe really trusts me. We should keep Joe around. And I was like, wow, okay. He's got a lot of people thinking that he is more trustworthy than he is. And I think that's really got to be key because Joe does not give a damn. Here's the flip side of that where I'm like a little like, oh, okay. And that's where it's like I could use a little more of like just a little more self-awareness in terms of like last week when Peyton was very clearly like, Joe, you're the only one that I said Emily's name to. So why did you spread it? And Joe was like, how dare you even assume that I would do something like that? That's crazy. You should feel bad for thinking that I'm a bad ally. And then this week, Caroline, after you told her that you voted her out and the vote like wasn't not close and she didn't know anyone else, put you up on the block and was apologetic for it, but she was like, I don't have another move, was like, wow, I voted you out, but I was honest and you weren't. And now the entire house thinks you're a liar. And it's like, wow, okay. And don't get me wrong, like all is fair game in Big Brother. I think it's great. I think it's making him a good player. But like when we're shocked to hear that like people are like, Joe's rubbing me the wrong way. Like, why are we acting so surprised? Why are we acting surprised by this? Like, you're doing this. So just noting that. But that being said, I think that he's actually one of the most dangerous players in the game because of the fact that he and Alex are so ride or die. Whether that's good or bad, I have yet to see. For the record, I think that Alex is controlling Joe more than Joe is controlling Alex, unfortunately, because I think Joe has the better social game to play a better game right now. This has been word vomit. I don't know what I'm saying.
Sure. What's your score?
My score, I was at a 6 for Joe last week. He was on the block this week, and he definitely has a sizable target on his back. So I should be lowering my score a lot. But he's also got some ride or die people that are really going to ride for him and make a mess of their games for him, like Faven. And he also has a ride or die duo with Alex that no one sees coming because he's doing a great job at hiding it. To the point where he even convinced me on a FaceTime. I had to text him and be like, wait, are you actually loyal to Alex? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you fooled me for a sec. T. So he's doing a very good job while simultaneously not doing a good enough job. And because I'm middle of the road, I'm lowering my score to a 5. A nice middle of the road score, and we'll see where he goes from here. It's really going to depend on who wins HOH, but I don't see him going home in a vote. I think he's too well insulated. I'll be real.
All right. I was gonna go up to a 6, but because I was like, okay, he and Alex like same area ish. like doing kind of the same thing. 32 to number ones was on the block this week. Boo. Bad. Not worthy of a 6, in my opinion. But came off the block, but still was on the block, and probably could have had a little bit of a difficulty staying. If he stayed on the block, I think, especially there were a lot of people who wanted him out this week. Um, so I'm gonna go stay with 5 for this week. Long way of saying I'm going to a 5. Okay, Kayla, not Chloe.
Hold on, we cannot see the screen. You have to
This is
fix
so weird. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. I have to pause.
Right.
Pause. Pause. Sorry. No, it's good.
Okay. Kayla, famously who is not Chloe. Um okay,
Who was at the 4 last week?
me.
Checks out. Okay.
And that's just a sign that I have a better read on these people because I think that's closer to where she should be. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Says cadence 7
Yeah,
to a
we're
4.
living in the present. We're living in the present, not the past.
Yeah.
Kayla, I love starting with the good. Here's the good news about Kayla. She's self-aware. And if anyone has watched past rankings, it's better to know where you're at than not know where you're at. This week, a lot of people have been like, where the fuck is Kayla? Who is she? Forgot she was here. She could go up on the block. Don't really care at all. Kayla, I think really this week at the vote, started to hear about some of the drama that was happening in the day, 2 days prior, and really was like, wow, I know that I haven't been super talkative about game, but I didn't realize I was this out of the loop. And now she started, in the same way that Jackson has, to be like, hey, I trust you. Can we please work together and get something going? Because I don't want to go yet. Is it going to be too little too late? We'll see. There's still time for her to turn it around, but I don't know. She's going to need a big shakeup to happen for her to like get in with people. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see. I was at a 4 last week. I was considering, just like Jackson, going down to a 3 because I think she was just in that bad of a position, unfortunately, which is so sad because long live jump ropers. But I'm going to stay at my 4 because self-aware. And I like that.
And I'm gonna go down to a 4 as well because it's like, girl, where are you?
She, again, to be clear, she's not here. Like her name is in my messages a lot.
I
She
know.
is texting. It's just not about game.
Not substantial things. Okay, put it in. Let me change it on here.
Did we already see the graph? I was looking.
No, not yet. Give me a second.
Oh, good. At least I have 87 messages from WTF is going on.
That's me asking that when I read that. Another 4.5 to a 4 victim.
Alrighty. Moving on.
Chloe. sorry. This is really fun. All right, keep going.
Can we go back to the slide?
It is there. Oh, okay. Something's wrong here.
It's not. There we go. Okay. Chloe. Again. Similar to Caroline. I have like no choice but to stand her for some reason. Is she really impressing me? No, I'll be honest. Really not. But do I really like her and kind of what she's doing? I'm like, yeah. Like, there's not really another way to phrase it. Um, I think, thank you. Thank you.
I will get better at timing these.
I think she's done a good job at reaching out to more people. Not quite as good of a job as Caroline, which is ironic considering the fact that it was opposite in week 1. Maybe that's not ironic. That's not how ironic is supposed to be used. Anyway. But if people needed a target next week, I think they target 3-4 other people before they target Chloe. And I think she's now back in the vernacular of she's not inactive. They know she can win a comp. She won the veto, which is good. And it wasn't any luck-based veto. It was skill. She did that. So, we'll give some credit. I was at a 4 last week. I'm going to raise my score to a 5. Nothing special. Still could be in with more people. But a nice 5 is where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm also going up to a 5 too. Because I do like her. So that's where I'm at. But she needs to strategically not be at a 5 and improve. But I like her. And Chloe, honestly, love her. There we go, 5.
Well, not there we go, because we don't see it yet.
Oh, why is it's not updating?
There we go.
Ooh. Did somebody else go from a 4 to a 5? No, just her. Interesting. Okay. Luke.
Luke's another tricky one. I think he's doing a pretty good job. Not doing a bad job. Doing better than most. But it's tough. He's being wrongfully looped in with Fletcher and Caden, but now is looping himself in more with them, and I think could get caught up with them, which wouldn't be great for him right now. But also, if he joins the other side, he's just going to be an expendable number for them. So he's in a weird spot. But it's not a bad spot. Because where some of these people, for example, Jackson, I'll use as an example, are in the middle of is not on any of the sides and is let's build the power structure. And it's can we move past that? With Luke, it's I don't know. He's very clearly pieced together. He's okay, Faven and Joe together. They've got something going on because they know where these votes lie. Okay, Fletcher and Kanan want to do something with me over here. Okay. I also know he's very clearly more intellectualizing where the game stands. And I think that's key. And I think that he's got a good head on his shoulders to not. I don't think he's on anyone's radar. I compare him to someone like Emily if Emily wasn't in any of the alliances that she's in. You know what I mean? I feel like he and Emily are talking to people in similar ways and are having a good conversation with people. The only difference is Emily's in the alliances and he's not in all of them. But for him, I don't think that's the end of the world because I think things are going to shake up and shift here in the next week or two. So, all that being said, I was at a 5 for Luke due to his read on the game, knowing where some people stand, and I think playing it safe and quiet, which is what you need to be doing right now, I think a little bit. I'm going to raise my score only up to a 6, but I'm going to raise it to a 6. But it's a tentative 6. It's a low 6, but it's a hopeful 6.
Because I was considering even going down to a 4, but I think I'm going to stay at my 5. I just think, yes, he's playing low key, but I feel like it's too in the shadows right now. And it's not in the shadows enough where it's I feel like he's getting himself into a little bit of trouble, especially with the whole like being tied in with Caden and Fletcher kind of thing. But he's also like being a little too quiet in the sense of like he's not really wrapped up in a lot of things. So it's like it's a whole thing. So I'm gonna say my 5, but I'm not feeling extremely confident about him moving forward.
I need to see a little more from him,
Yeah,
but I'm not mad about it. Speaking of, that was your cue to play the funny sound clip.
no, we're not there yet. I'm doing too many things at once. Hold on, I'm so overworked.
I'll say my joke again in a
I
second.
need to be in a union. Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Oh, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Luke, I need to see a little bit more from, which I'm not mad about. Speaking of, that was good. Mad. Yeah. Wow. This is fun. I enjoy the soundboard. I thought I'd hate it. I love it.
We do not care.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mads.
Just research for the soundboard.
Let me sum up Mads' game. And again, let me preface this. I love to start with something good. So we're gonna be in the practice of saying nice things about people first. Without Mads saying yes to the season, we wouldn't have had a full cast. And to that, I'm very appreciative because Mads sent in all of her things after we asked for them, but that's besides the point. And and but was able to jump in and be a member of our cast very quickly. And to that, I say thank you. I'm not mad about the fact that she left so soon, though. Because unfortunately, she contributed, I believe the scientific term is 0% thing to the game. Her trajectory, let me play out what Mads' trajectory this was.
Who's trajected to be?
Sure, if you will. Mads was brought into the BB Snap 6 just because she played BB Snap, not because she talked to any of those 5 people and formed any particularly strong bond with her. Then she got put up on the block by Caroline, to which she said, "Glad we see who's not a girl's girl now." Well, Matt, if I recall, you were perfectly fine with Emily putting up 2 girls that weren't you. So I don't think this is the issue. I think the issue was you were put up, which is fine. I'd also be upset. Then lost the veto, unfortunately. She tried, she was there. Great, awesome. Connor was named as a replacement. She texted her main BB Snap Alliance and was like, "Keep me." And that was all that was really sad. They all then decided that despite the fact that they were in this alliance with her, they'd rather keep Connor, the person that half of them haven't really talked to or developed a good bond with, over her because she slipped up, said things from their alliance, has not been proven to be like a good alliance member by any means. Just wasn't there. She then went home. Not provide a speech. Sorry, I was at a family thing. Didn't tell us when we asked for conflicts, which is fine. I'm ripping her a little bit more than I feel like maybe I should be. But all that to say, thank you so much for playing. Really appreciate that you were able to be here. But second boot feels okay. I am going to give Mads a 1 just because I feel like this was easily presentable with her alliance if she put in even an ounce of effort. So 1. But it's a 1 with love, if that means anything.
No, it's not. Not for me. Sorry. I'll give her a 1. I don't feel a need to be as long-winded about it, especially considering you probably said more words in your description of her bad gameplay than she said all season. So, 1. Not with love, with peace and love, which is a really backhanded way of saying thank you for playing, but we're glad you're on. Anyway, bye.
We have to look at the graph. Oh, is that a bye to Mads?
Yeah, it was a biomass. Oh, I put in a Q instead of a 1. First house guest to ever get a Q.
Watch Drag Race season 16.
Oof. Okay, I need to find my oof button. There we go.
That's rough.
Well,
Righty.
that's week 2 for you.
Let's look at our scores here. Really, really interesting. If you'll notice, no one's below a 4, and very few people are above a 6. It's a very, very, very middle of the pack game. While there are certainly people that are doing better than some others, we're pretty middle of the road here. It's still anyone that could go home. It really is dependent on, like, there's no one that is in that much significantly more danger than someone else. Whoever wins could choose to target someone on the other side. One side would target Caden and Fletcher. One side would target Joe. Someone who wins could also target someone like Jackson, like Kayla, like Isabel, like Connor, who hasn't said much. The only people that I do feel confident are safe and good are Alex, Emily, and Jason, which are the 3 people with the green scores this week. So I really feel like that reflects, which is nice. Go us. It's almost as if we scored these people. And yeah, moving into week 3, we do not know who won HOH yet. I think it's going to be a battle. It's an intense comp that we've got planned. And I don't know. It should be key, it should be critical. And we'll see who leaves. Steven, do you have any predictions for who's going to leave in week 3?
Um,
You'd call your shot right now.
call my shot. Who did you call anyone?
No, not yet.
I could see it being Caden.
I like it. I was also going to say Caden. I don't know. I just feel in my gut, BB Snap lost a side. Mads gone. I think it's time for the other side to lose a side. And I think Caden's the most likely. But I don't doubt that they'll try for Fletcher. And I don't doubt that it could be Caroline. So we'll see.
See.
That's all. We'll see you for week 3. Famously, a big blow up week in BBSS lore. We'll see if they continue down that route. It easily could.
All right.
See you then. Oh, good.
Bye. Have a great time.
Great.
Okay, these are bad sounds.
Sure.
It's a bad soundboard. Okay, bye. Wait, stop share. Where is stop share?
You're
Oh,
killing
stop.
it.